So welcome to another edition of Cybersecurity 101 with Larry and Joe, YouTube edition.
Yes. So to all our listeners, this is our second YouTube episode. So in this episode, first, I would like to thank the host so much, Joe Stalker. You got to figure this guy is a Microsoft MVP. He takes his time out on a Saturday. I would like to thank him and his wife, Joy. He takes his time out on a Saturday to do this and to really help me out. So I really appreciate it. And I thank the Lord that I have a friend like Joe. So thank you.
Thankful to have you as a friend too. So there are two things you wanted to discuss and learn about today. One was how to set up a VPN user.
Yes.
And then the second was a user is locked out. How do you actually help get them unlocked, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do, this is actually going to be kind of fun. We're going to set up a VPN server.
Oh, wow.
So that you get to actually see how a VPN server is actually set up from scratch, because then I think you'll have a greater appreciation of everything that kind of goes into it. And so that when a user does connect to it, if they have a problem, you kind of know a little bit better about how to troubleshoot it, right? Because here's our virtual machine in Canada or in Sweden. This is where the server is, and then the Canada is where the employee who traveled is. And notice it's still creating, so we'll give that a minute. But while that's creating, I'm going to show you how to actually turn this virtual machine into a VPN server. And to do that, we're going to click on connect via RDP. And then notice the IP address changed from the one that I had emailed you previously, right? So every time you stop a virtual machine and you create a virtual machine, the IP is going to change unless you come in, Larry, and you basically go into the networking and you tell it you want to make it a static IP. Now that's pretty important, because can you imagine if everybody's configuration was pointing at a server and all of a sudden the IP changed, then no one's going to be able to VPN in, right?
No.
So exactly. Over here on this public IP, you'd want to click on it. And then in the configuration here, we're going to want to tell it it's a static, not if it's dynamic, that means every time I shut down the VM and start it up, I'm going to end up with a different IP, which is really bad. If I set it to a static IP, then the machine will have to reboot, but then it will always stick with that IP every single time. So that's the difference between dynamic and static, and that's an important lesson here.
Very important
in troubleshooting, because hey, maybe they couldn't connect because somebody forgot to set it to static. That could be a legitimate problem, right? Okay, cool. Connect to this guy. Okay, wow. Now we're in our Sweden virtual machine. While that's doing that, okay, notice up here where it says manage, it says add roles or features, Larry.
Right.
I can come over here now. Did you take Server Plus?
Yes, I did. So I know exactly what you're doing. So I'm just loving seeing it again. It's been a while.
Remote access, right?
Yep.
So
the wizard makes it a lot easier.
All right. So
it's funny. My one of my teachers in school, he said roles with a funny accent. Like I think he's from like North Carolina. So I used to always laugh when he was showing us this.
Notice I checked the box direct access and VPN.
Yeah.
It said that the configuration is required, installation succeeded. We click close, and then up here there's a flag and it says we need to do the get started wizard And so now we're going to be configuring remote access. Welcome to remote access, right? And deploy both direct access only or VPN only. So we'll do VPN only.
Interesting.
Finish. Episode 1.youtube starts. Okay, now it's running. Okay. And okay, so we have the initial kind of configuration going. Now, the way that this typically works is you go into, do you remember Active Directory users and computers?
Yeah, yes. A little yes.
Okay, so we have the users here, right?
Yes.
And we have the one user that we created here, and then we created Dak Prescott.
Right.
Now, Dak is the one who's in Canada, and he wants to connect to the VPN. Now, we look at the member of groups. He's a member of the who put him in there? We got to remove him from that, right? All right. And we have this dial-in tab. Now, notice it says network access permission, control access through a policy. Now, an NPS server is a server role that's not on here. We didn't configure. You could go in here and manage, add a server role, and you could basically come in here and add a NPS, so network policy server. And this is basically what would determine which users are authorized to connect to the VPN. Now, it's a more involved setup. So rather than doing that, just to create it like a simpler environment, we're just going to go in on Zach and we're going to basically say allow access.
Okay.
So this is kind of the simplest way to sort of allow access. Otherwise, in most other networks, you probably do NPS, and then you do the membership of a group. Like if you're a member of VPN users, then you could, connect. And that's probably how it would be done. All right. Now I'm going to reset Zach's password here. We'll click OK. Now you were also asking another question earlier. How do you unlock someone who's locked out?
Right.
Notice when I'm resetting the password, I have an option here to unlock the user's account.
Oh, okay.
So it says account status. If they were showing up as locked, I could basically come in here and unlock them at this point.
Okay.
All right. Now, the other thing we want to do is we want to look at the user's username. Now, the user's username is just simply YouTube/DAC. YouTube/DAC. And that's going to be important for us later when we try to get DAC on the VPN. Because the problem of why he's not connecting the VPN, maybe he's typing in the wrong username. So this is the username that we would use to make sure he's typing in the right one. We would also want to come in here and unlock the account this way too. If we didn't reset the password, but we only wanted to unlock the account, on the account tab is this unlock option. Now, why would someone's account get locked? If they tried too many bad password attempts.
Right.
And so if they've tried too many, then we unlock them. Okay. Now, what if their account expired? So the reason maybe why they couldn't log in is because their account expired in April of 2022.
Right.
So there's like 4 reasons why someone may not be able to connect to a VPN. 1, they're typing in the wrong username. 2, their account's locked out. We got to unlock them. 3, they're using the wrong password. 4, their account may have been expired.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's a lot of, or what if they used the wrong IP when they were trying to connect to the VPN?
That too.
That's a 5th reason, right?
Right.
So there's like 5 reasons why someone may not be able to connect. So that's a quick summary of those. Okay, so we'll cancel that. So we've got the DAC user. We've verified that on the dial-in, oh, that's the other one, is on the dial-in, if he was set to deny, that's reason number 6 he may not be able to connect to the VPN. So in an interview question, someone's like, hey, what are the 6 reasons why someone may not be able to connect to the VPN? Username, password, locked out, expiration, IP address of the server, or they've been denied access in the remote tab, right?
Right.
And there's probably more.
Yeah, it's probably a million more, but those
There's
are probably the most
others.
common ones.
But those are the most common ones that if you were just troubleshooting and you just wanted to nail that interview, if someone told me that and they were interviewing for a help desk role and they just nailed those, I'd be like, okay, this person has some experience here. At least, you know, trying the most common ones. That's really all the help desk needs to do, is try the most common ones, and if, you know, and then pass it up, you know, after you've tried those ones, right?
Right.
Okay, so we have the user, we have the VPN server that's now configured, it's enabled. You know, let's take a look here at the rest of this thing here. So step 1, remote clients, identify the client computers that will be enabled. Well, we're not really enabling them for direct access. And we're not, I mean, this whole thing is all direct access configuration, so we're not going to do that. That's direct access is a more, you know, I was going to say a more modern replacement for VPN, but then Microsoft kind of moved away from this to a newer technology called always on VPN, which is like a replacement for this. So,
Okay.
All right, so we don't want to enable direct access. We want to just come in here, maybe look at the properties, enable it as a router, as a remote access server. It must have a CN name that matches the server name. So if we go to Windows, SSTP, certificate, CN name, generate. This is going to be a walkthrough. This is neat. So we go to IaaS and we need to go to tools, and then we go to IaaS manager, and then we go to the server name. We go to server certificates. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to say, create a self-signed cert. Enter a friendly name. So this will be episode 2 VPN server. And we click OK. All right, cool. Now, notice it says the issued to is episode1.youtube.com. That's what the CN name is. And that's kind of what we were missing before. The other certificate didn't have the name of the server in the certificate, right?
Oh, okay. So then we just got to add that to it.
Exactly. So now export the self-signed cert, copy it to file, a copy of the cert. So we're going to do copy. We do not want the private key going to a customer, like a client.
Okay.
The only one that should have the private key is just the actual server admin, not the clients. Because then they'd be able to decrypt everybody else's traffic, and we don't want to do that. So we'll copy this now, repeating that last step we did. Okay, so now over here on this client, paste this, and then we're going to import. Let's see if we can just drag it. No, of course not. Not ever easy. So we got to browse. Okay, now do we trust the cert? And imported, there it is, episode1.youtube. That's the server name.
Right.
Now over on this other, according to the instructions here, it says when we configure the server, custom config VPN, that's what we did. We actually followed all of this. This is kind of cool. And then we changed the security to the new cert that we had created earlier. So that's the step we need to do, is on the security tab of that guy. So we go over here, We go security tab. This one, episode 1. Now the server is going to be listening on that new cert. It requires the server to be restarted. This is kind of epic. We're like literally creating a connection between 2 continents, between Canada and Sweden, like network traffic, you know, trusted between. Oh, okay, static address pool. Okay, cool. That's one of the steps we needed to do before that. I knew. I was like, well, we don't have a DHCP server. How's it going to work? So we're going to go over here. Instead of doing a DHCP pool, we'll do a static pool. And we're going to specify a range. So we'll do like 10.0.0.10 because our IP address is 0.4. And so we're going to start issuing IPs from 10 to 10.0.0.200. So we could have like 191 customers connecting to us, right? Oh, reason number 8, someone might not be able to connect to the VPN, Larry, is we ran out of IPs. Yes. Whoever designs the IPs designs how big your VPN thing can scale.
Oh, okay.
And so whoever sets this up needs to be forward thinking to be how big is this company going to grow? So we're going to issue out these IPs. So now we're going to go back on this other guy here. It said the certificate's name does not match. Does not match the past value. Same error message. The certificate name doesn't match the past value. Oh, I think is it because the name that I'm putting in here for the server is not the same name. So I think let's try Windows System 32 drivers, Etsy, Notepad, hosts, and then here, if we put in the name of that, because notice we had this here,
yeah,
it's not matching the certificate name. So if we put in a host file and we make it the same as the certificate name, then we'll kind of trick it. Because obviously we don't own the YouTube name, but if we actually create a host file, we can trick it to make it think it's episode1.youtube.com. Now, when we go to ping it, episode1.youtube.com, now it's resolving to that IP. And then in the VPN properties, we'll put in the actual name here. Let's see if that does it. Go back. Boom, it connected, Larry.
Connected. Yeah,
it connected.
I think when you take it off the defaults, then it just automatically.
Exactly. All right, so now we do an IP config. Notice we have 2 IPs now. We have a 192, which is our original IP, and we also have a Sweden headquartered issued IP address 10.0.0.11.
Awesome.
So now can we communicate with our friendly Sweden server 10.0.0.4? Yes, we can communicate with it.
Yeah.
Now, can we actually like look at the files on it? Can we copy files from it? So we go back over to the server. And let's say we actually go to this D drive and we create a folder that we want to share. So this is a share where people are going to share files between each other, right? Sharing, we're going to share it, and we're going to allow, we want to allow DAC, access to it, right?
Right.
So Dak Prescott, we're going to give him read and write access. So we share it out, boom, it's now there. And then maybe we want to put a file in there like it's his, what kind of a bonus should we give him? So new bonus for average QBs.
Yeah.
All right, so he comes in here, haha, you got to do better, right?
Yeah.
All right, so cool. So we left this little document in there. Now, if we go back over to in Canada, and he's over there, right? So this is him. He just got on the VPN. He's connected. This is kind of cool, this command line stuff. So
Yeah.
if you do like a net use and then the name of the server, you can then connect to like this IPC share.
Yeah.
And then it will prompt me, it should prompt me for some kind of a password. But now if I do like a net view and 10.0.0.4, I can see I have this like file share here. So now I could be able to do a net use 10.0.0.4 share. Now I have a Z drive mapped. So if I go to the Z drive now on this computer, I've got this bonus file for zip here. Now I can actually go in here. I can make a change. I'll be like, the Raiders want me, so pay up. Okay, right. So he just left a little message there. Yeah. So on the drive now, you can see we have this like Z drive mapped because he's on the VPN. So now he could establish. So wrapping up this episode, Larry, if you're going to do something, do it all the way, right? So instead of just like, okay, how do I troubleshoot a VPN? Like a user connecting to a VPN, I actually showed you how a server administrator would actually troubleshoot and actually go through setting up a VPN server.
Wow.
And then now I showed you how a user can connect to it, you know, that. So we went way beyond the basic question. We showed the full on, you know, creating a server, troubleshooting and kind of thinking through that. That was kind of interesting.
That was. I mean, yeah, I mean, the basic one, it probably would have been a lot more easier to do and to just, but to the server, you got to know what you're doing. That's awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So I just hope that the users, I mean, our viewers, you know, just take heed to this. This is very, very good stuff.
Yeah.
Very fun stuff.
Good times, Larry. All right. So that's a wrap. Episode 2 in the books.
In the books.
All right. And then, yeah, I'll look forward to, you know, the next episode, you know, in a couple of weeks. I'm out of town next week, but the week after that, and then be thinking of anything you want to maybe learn or, you know, for the episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3, we could probably get into some more cybersecurity stuff. So I think that's what they're waiting on. We kind of got through some basic stuff and the importance of certain things that you have to add on. You know, if you just want them just to go on this port, or if you want to shut all port access down, that's very important. That's part of cybersecurity too. So yeah, this is fun.
Awesome. Okay, I will see you later. Have a great weekend.
You too, Joe.
All right, take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.